You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. And now, here's two guys who will be asleep on New Year's Eve by 10 p.m. Atlantic Time, 10:30 in Newfoundland, Evan and Joe.
I'm Joe Ticotsky down in New Haven, Connecticut.
I'm Evan McFarlane here in St. Andrews, New Brunswick.
And you're watching episode 78 of Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. I took a nice little trip up to Prince Edward Island in November in the hopes that we'll add to our camp there. And great trip, except for the constant rain. And on the way back, I stopped into St. Andrews and saw Evan's team with a rousing victory and a little technical foul there, buddy, during the game.
Yeah, I got no comment on that one. It's good to see you though. It's been fun. The boys are playing well. We've had a good environment in the gym. Lots of people coming out to support, so we certainly appreciate that. And I just hope that the rest of the season keeps going the way it has been.
It was fun environment, and one that I certainly miss. It was good times. But all right, well, let's get rolling here. After the break, we'll discuss a Hockey Hall of Fame with an age requirement. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews. Welcome back to Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Back in 2011, Maurice Marchand and others wanted to encourage hockey players to remain active in the game and decided to start recognizing them through the 80-plus Hockey Hall of Fame. That's right, people who still play hockey at age 80 or older. Well, our first guest joined the board 10 years ago and has been president for almost 2 years. So from just outside the nation's capital of Ottawa, let's welcome in the president of the 80-plus Hockey Hall of Fame, Herb Brennan. Herb, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Herb.
Tell us how this unique Hall of Fame started back in 2011, sort of the reasons behind starting it.
Well, Mo Marchand was the instigator of the idea, and he borrowed ideas from others who were providing certificates to guys that were 80 years of age and congratulating them for having played. But he decided to take it up a notch. And what we've done is we provide each of the inductees with their own jersey, with their favorite hockey number on it. We provide them with a set of hockey cards. We create a game to put the new inductees in it and encourage their families to join up with them. And the idea behind it, of course, is to keep 80-year-old plus playing the game, staying in the game. And it's been remarkable here for us realizing how many guys are looking at it as kids at 70 years of age, thinking, I want to stay, I want to play until I get to 80.
Yeah. Now, how did you become involved, and do you still play hockey?
Well, I was playing with a group called the Elder Skatesmen at the University of Ottawa, and Mo was also playing there. And when we had our first 3 inductions, they were all conducted on ice at the University of Ottawa. And of course, you know, young guys like myself sat in the stands to watch what was going on.
Okay. Evan.
Cool. Yeah, so maybe give us a snippet. How many people are currently in the hall, and are there different categories in it, or is it just players only?
Well, there are now 3 categories.
Okay.
We started out with 2, the player category and the builders, because we felt people who were going through the strain of finding ice, finding players, putting them together, is important to give the opportunity to guys to continue to play the game. So there is a builder category. And then we ran into the situation in 22 when we found out we had an 80-year-old referee.
Okay.
In Burlington. And so we opened that category up to allow officials who are continuing to be part of the game as well.
Cool.
And now we have the total is approximately 398, I think, now after our most recent induction in October. There's 356, I believe, are the players, and the balance +1 would be the builders.
Okay.
And we are looking in 2025 of approximately 90 more eligible that we're aware of.
Holy.
To be inducted.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, 80, I hung mine up when I was about 24 and I felt like I was 95. So that's fair. But Joe, you're just a few years out. But
I was waiting for that, Evan.
Yeah, I had to throw it in there. So what's the oldest member that you currently have?
Well, one of the fellows I play with is be 92 in January,
Wow.
Ray Wardle. He's still cutting it. We know that there are guys in Saskatoon that are over the age of 90 that are still playing the game. And they're obviously, in my mind, guys that were very fit individuals.
Yeah.
Who have had the luxury of not suffering a lot of injuries and other categories.
Right.
Yeah, they build them different out west.
He's
too.
great. As a matter of fact, Ray is one of these guys who in his 80s was setting world records for sprinting.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I know you mentioned the hall's not-for-profit organization run by volunteers. How's the hall funded, and is there a physical home for the hall?
There is no physical home for the hall, although we have recently had the Montgomery Legion in Ottawa agreed to put the plaques that we have from each event on there in a foyer in their building. So, and we got those out of the closet and on the wall for people to actually be able to see. Our funding is really a very hit and miss exercise, and it's a source of continual effort on both our part and the board's part to find the funding to keep a website, to pay some of the administrative costs of us putting the program together.
Yeah, like I just want to know what the nominating process kind of looks like for someone eventually getting selected in, and how often do these take place?
Well, we started out with one a year. In 2018, we had two. We had one in Ottawa and we had one in Saskatoon. The boys in Saskatoon have planned one for 2026.
Okay.
In addition. That'll be their next one. So they did one in 2018, 2022, and now planned for 2026.
Okay, nice.
They're expecting to have 1,000 people at the banquet.
Oh my.
All right.
We're excited when we get 185.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wow.
Some of those towns in Saskatoon, that's everybody.
Yes, yes. Well, they built their own rink for adult hockey. So
that's awesome.
But this coming year, for example, we're anticipating having to do one in the spring. There is one being planned for the fall in Gatineau. And in the past, what was happening in Ottawa area was that we were flipping back and forth across the river every year. 1 year it would be in Gatineau and the next year in Ottawa.
Okay.
Cool. All right, yeah, let me get you a couple quick questions before we get you out of here. Any female members in the hall?
Sorry?
Any females in the Hall of Fame?
No, but the good news is there will be one inducted in the fall of 2025. A lady from Montreal will be inducted in Gatineau. And we're aware of another woman in the Burlington area who has reached the age of 79 and is playing.
Nice.
And so we expect her to be available and inducted as well.
Now, any former NHL players in the hall?
Soon to be, but not yet. One of them that will be inducted in Saskatoon in 26 is a fellow by the name of Bill Orban. Bill played for Chicago Blackhawks. He recently was playing in Burlington at the Canada Cup on behalf of Canada against the US. And so he's eligible. He just has to wait until the boys have the event.
Okay, good. And I'd be remiss if I did not ask you, who's your favorite NHL team?
Well, of course it's Ottawa because I live here.
Fair enough.
We
won't
I
talk
am,
about the game the other
I
night.
guess, a hockey nut. There's a lot of individual players that I thoroughly enjoy, and they're not on the Ottawa team.
Okay, Evan's a fan of that team that pretty much wins every year, the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, yes. Well,
Yeah.
now
We're not
that
talking
takes
about the other
courage.
night, Herb. We're not talking about the game a couple days ago.
You must beat yourself each day with.
The thing is, I'm not even old enough. Like, that doesn't make any sense that I like this team, other than I just like to humiliate and torture myself.
And I'm a long lost Hartford Whalers fan here in Connecticut.
Ah, okay. Yes. Well, you had one of the best play there, didn't you?
Gordy, yes, we did.
Yes.
Yes,
Sure.
we did. Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, he is Herb Brennan, and he is the president of the 80 Plus Hockey Hall of Fame. For more information on the hall, you can go online to 80 Plus, and that's 80 PLUS, hockeyhalloffame.com. It's a great website with a lot of information and certainly growing by the day. Herb, thanks so much for being on the show, and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks, Evan. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. As you can tell, I'm an enthusiast.
Yeah, we love it. It's such a great initiative.
All right. Well, after the break, it's another edition of Small Town Spotlight. You're watching Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV. Welcome back to Mc&T's Sports Report on CHCO-TV. For this episode of Small Town Spotlight, we head to Montreal, which, at just under 2 million people, is certainly not to be confused with a small town. But for those of you that have seen this segment before, we also look for quirky things from all over Canada, and the Montreal Signs Project certainly fits the bill. Located at Concordia University's Loyola campus in Montreal, the project has been helping to save dozens of historic commercial and civic signs. According to the project's website, the MSP aims to promote awareness, conversation, and nostalgia, while also asking larger questions about migration and entrepreneurship, as well as the hidden stories of the sign makers themselves. So let's welcome in the head of the Montreal Signs Project, Dr. Matt Soars. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Good to be with you.
Now, what made you even think of starting a project like this, and were there any obstacles initially?
It was an accident, a little bit like becoming a professor. It's just one of those things that happens in life. I was actually doing some work on something the media historians like to call hyper-commercialism, the idea that there's too much advertising on too many surfaces. And having moved up from rural Massachusetts to Montreal, coming over the bridge, especially at night, and just seeing all these logos on all the high rises. So that was in 2003. That turned into a conference called Logo Cities, which was about high-rise signs in cities. And in 2007, and the strange thing was we actually collected some old signs from around the city and put them into a gallery space. And the reaction was really quite extraordinary. They were local signs for local businesses. And that started the wheels turning for me.
Okay. Now, so is that a Massachusetts accent or a Montreal accent?
It's a mid-Atlantic accent. Yeah, born in England, spent a lot of time in Massachusetts, and the last 20 in Montreal. Yeah.
Excellent. And now, how many signs are currently on display at the university, and are they all in one place?
Last count, we have about 50 signs in total. 24 of them are in my department building, the Department of Communication Studies. The Loyola campus, we share the building with journalism. They're very tolerant of my ways in putting old signs on the walls. We have another bunch of signs that are in storage, sort of Santa's Grotto workshop that I'm slowly rebuilding. We gifted 14 signs to a brand new museum, a wonderful museum that opened up in Montreal on the plateau last year, called the MEM, the Centre des Mémoires Montréalaises. And they put 12 of those in their lobby. So they've got, for instance, a 20-foot tall neon sign for a church and a whole bunch of other stuff for bagels and bicycles and all kinds of stuff. And then there are 4 or 5 signs that are in other spaces, other offices on each campus.
Okay. Now, is there an admission charge to view the MSP?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it's a public institution. I did have some public research funds early on to get things going. It's very much a come take a look kind of arrangement.
Okay. Now, is your project just limited to signs of businesses that are or were located right in Montreal, or say there's an old sign in Longueuil, would that be eligible? How's that for a little name check there?
That's excellent. Thank you. I know sign makers in Longueuil. Yeah. It became clear pretty quickly that the kinds of signs that people were reacting positively to were signs for local businesses. And as of now, it's businesses that are on the island of Montreal. So we don't get into saving, I don't know, gas station signs or banks or Starbucks or anything like that. It's one-off signs that really speak to Montrealers.
I like that. No chain rule. No chain.
That's good. No chain.
No chains. Are there any types of businesses whose signs you exclude?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I don't think so, no. For instance, of something that might be borderline for some people is we have a sign for a bar exotica from the old red light district. We have the 281, which was a very well-known stripper bar, but it was men stripping for the clientele. So it kind of runs the gamut from a church sign right through to red light signs, to bar signs and restaurant signs. I can't think of anything we've actually refused based on what it was advertising.
Okay. Well, so for that bar exotica, we'll have to discuss that on the pay-per-view version of the show.
Sure.
Now, do people contact you when a business closes and say, we heard about your place, do you want our sign, or do you seek out owners of businesses that either changing signs or are closing?
A great question, Joe. It's a bit of everything, really. I've got a bit of a reputation around town for being a bit of a sign nut at this point, 14 years in. So it might be somebody reaching out on social media. We have an Instagram account. It might be an email. It might be a phone call. Sometimes there are signs out there that are clearly important. They clearly have some history associated with them. And in that case, we may make a phone call or send an email just to say, we're here if you need us.
Okay. Now, who does the dismantling, cleaning, moving of the signs, and who pays for that?
It's me. I use the royal we to refer to all the amazing student research assistants I've had along the way that I've been able to hire to help me out with the project. But listen, we get a sign. I roll my sleeves up, get a shovel out, get some gloves on, and get in there and pull out all kinds of nasties. There's dirt and dead pigeons and all kinds of stuff. And then we basically wash them off, clean them off. That's the sort of low pass that we do for each sign. If there are repairs necessary, we do those too. But we are not in the business of restoration. That's a very kind of specialized, very expensive, but very necessary kind of expertise that we certainly can't afford.
Okay. All right, let's get you out with two final questions. What is your favorite sign in the collection?
Well, it changes from month to month. I was thinking about this the other day, and right now I would go back to it's a very modest sign. It's the sign for a local franchise called Monsieur Hot Dog. So it has that lovely sort of franglais thing going on. I have a background in graphic design. It's nicely laid out. It's square, top half in red, bottom half in yellow. There's a little top hat in there. The type is really nicely balanced and laid out. And it was one of the first signs we got. And then as soon as I put it on the wall in this sort of lounge area where the students hang out in the building, it started to be referred to as the hot dog lounge, which was fantastic. So the sign is sort of getting a new lease of life in terms of indicating something that isn't hot dogs, but is a student hangout.
That's Mr. Hot Dog to you, right?
Mr. Hot Dog, you got it. Yeah.
Now, what would you say is the weirdest sign in the collection?
First one that has plenty of oddness, but the first one that comes to mind is for Shark's Pool Bar, which was downtown in the Faubourg building. Here's what's weird about it. First off, I wasn't looking out for it. The facilities folks at Concordia, who have been incredibly supportive over the years in getting signs on walls, found it because Concordia was occupying some of that space and brought it to me. And then part of the weirdness is my shame that it sat in the corner of a workshop and I didn't open it for a long time because it's not that interesting from the outside. It's sort of purple and black, and there's a logo of a shark, and it says Shark's Pool Bar, as you might imagine. Anyway, too long later, I thought in a quiet moment, what the hell? I'll open it up. I'll have a look inside it, and it is the most extraordinary sign. It has fiber optics in it. It has revolving colored gels. So little motors and colored gels and light sources. And when you go around the front of the sign, it's actually got motion, the appearance of motion, because it's using this fiber optic technology. I'm quite sure the sign company never made a buck because of the labor and design and materials involved in having to do that. So, so we reinstalled it in the hot dog lounge, and we put a clear back on it and plugged it into the wall on a timer switch. So anybody who's visiting can appreciate it from the front and the animation there, but they can also come around the back and see the workings, which I think is very special.
Yeah, it sounds like amazing. We will hopefully pop a picture or two up, or already have while you were talking about it. My favorite of the signs that I saw is the Fairmont Bagels sign.
Yeah.
My grandparents had an old bakery, and I have relatives that live up there. And what's the other one besides Fairmont?
Saint Viateur.
Saint Viateur. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing shops. Yeah.
And I learned a lot about Montreal being a recent immigrant through the signs. And one of those things is that you're either a Saint Viateur or you're Fairmont. There's no in between.
There you go. All right, well, he is Dr. Matt Soars, and he's the mastermind behind the Montreal Signs Project, which is located at Concordia University's Loyola campus. You can check out their website at montrealsignsproject.ca and their Instagram account, which they're both certainly worth checking out. And if you're in Montreal, definitely stop in and see the signs in person. It sounds like a pretty amazing collection you have there. And as you see, I have a nice local New Haven record store that closed. And as I was telling you, but there we go. There we go. Oh, okay.
Shameless plug. Yeah.
There we go. And I'll expect one of those in the mail within the month. But
I'm on it.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Soars, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Take care.
We're back. That was a great, interesting interview there with Matt. Now, I'm starting to get close to that Hall of Fame too, but my memory is not the way it used to be. But did you I swear I've seen you wear that shirt before a long time ago, like 50 some episodes ago, right?
Well, look who's mastered the art of the Google search. You're correct. I didn't think we still had any viewers from that far back, so I figured I'd go with a retread, and my beloved Cutler's Record Shop T-shirt fit the bill. But it's not a total rotation basis.
There's no way you ran out of T-shirts. It's impossible.
All right. Well, before we end this, Happy New Year to you. A quick and chaotic 2024 down here. Hope you had a great New Year.
Yeah, you as well, sir. I would cheers you with something a little stronger than water, but it is 9:48 a.m. here, so on a Wednesday.
All right. Well, we look forward to a great and happy, healthy holiday season, everyone, and a 2025 New Year. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Well, that is it for episode 78 of Mc&T Sports Report. I am Joe in New Haven.
I'm Evan here in New Brunswick.
Thanks to Patrick Watt and Florence Mitchell for producing and editing a show that will eventually be played more times than Old Lang Syne on New Year's Eve. This is Mc&T Sports Report on CHCO-TV in St. Andrews, and we'll see you in 2025.